right, and we're back. This is episode 44, and I'm your host, Mike. This is a Tap Room podcast. What's going on, everybody? It's a fun episode. I got to talk to Art from LA Brew Life. Like, it was really like cool to actually, because him and I had been kind of exchanging messages back and forth for some time, and now we got to hang out a few weeks ago. It was right after Thanksgiving. So it was really cool. We got to go down to Noble, and, obviously they love the guys at Noble. They, let us go over there, hang out in their cellar room and record, or their barrel room and record. But yeah, it's, so make sure you guys go follow Art. It's LA_Brew Life. Like I said, just a fun conversation. Kind of got to hear how he got into craft beer, stuff like that. We talked about his brother as well, who's like a graphic designer, all that sort of stuff. Talked some college football, and talks about the different breweries he likes to go to, stuff like that. So it was a really fun one, like, an Instagram spotlight episode. But I do want to jump into, so Noble has a new beer out, so I'm going to jump in a crack a brewski here. Let's get that here. We have, so today it's one of their new tiki seltzers. So I believe it's called like Norwegian Paralysis. It's pretty awesome. And it says it has pineapple, orange, soft serve. I don't know what this orgate, I think Demerara and anise. So it's almost like Star Spice. It comes in at 10%. So let's crack her open, eh? Wanted to sense this seltzer here, and they have a bunch of new seltzers out too. If you're into that, if you're into seltzers and stuff, so let's crack it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And at 10%. Let's see how this one goes. I might have had a few glasses of whiskey yesterday for my buddy Mario. So happy birthday to Mr. Chains, Super Mario. Here we go. Let's jump in. Oh yeah. Woo. That's dangerous. Like, it comes in at 10%, but it's not like overly, like, it's not like boozy or anything like that. That's kind of scary. And yeah, it's a smoothie seltzer. Yeah, you definitely get like that orange, like kind of soft serve, right off the bat. You definitely get pineapple. You're getting all of it. So man, this is solid for being a, and I'm not the biggest seltzer guy. But this is a big fat 10 for me. And it looks like they did the collaboration with Tiki Tony. So, check that out. And definitely if you want to go down to Noble, check out all their stuff. They got some great stuff. So I wanted to talk about too today. I did post a poll the other day. Not a poll. I put the question on Instagram. I asked like, what's everybody's favorite Christmas movie? So there's quite a few. We got the Santa Claus, Holiday Inn, Scrooge with Bill Murray, which is a banger from my boy Bone Shack. Christmas Vacation, classic. That got quite a few votes. Let's see what else we got. Jack Frost, Jingle All the Way, classic. Batman Returns. Hey, it's Navi said The Grinch, and then he put in parentheses, Elf is overrated. There was Elf on there as well. One called Holiday Inn, haven't seen that one, and then one called A Christmas Kiss. Haven't seen that one either. It says it's a girl movie. That's what it said on there. Also, there was a couple other ones on here. Let me see. So let's see that list. There we go. So we got White Christmas, Home Alone, A Christmas Story, bang. I mean, what a classic. Someone put Elf, then Bad Moms Christmas, The Grinch, Nightmare Before Christmas, Harry Potter, and Polar Express. All bangers. So what I was thinking about doing for next week's episode, because it'll be out on Christmas Eve, I will do a kind of come up with those. Since I'm going to come up with like a poll for this week, and we'll kind of like, the movies against each other. We'll see who wins. And then we will come up with the definitive top 10 Christmas movies for next week. I didn't want to go too long in the intro. I wanted to be able to, obviously jump right into Art's, to the conversation that Art and I got to have. Like I said, definitely go follow him. He's got some really cool stuff coming up. So, definitely check it out. It's LA_Brew Life. Just a really good dude, man. And so yeah, that's it for me. I gotta get on out of here. I barely started Christmas shopping, and it is December 17th. So yeah. All right. Well, hope you guys have a good one. Stay tuned for the outro. All right, guys, we're back in the tap room, and I am your host, Mike. I have a very special guest on today. It's LA_Brew Life, and his name's Art Castellanos. How's it going today, brother?
Good, man. Thank you for having me on.
No, glad you could be on. We're over here at Noble having a few beers. It's your first time?
First time here. I've been wanting to come. I know they've been open for 10 years, over 10 years, and I just want to say also congratulations on your 5,000th followers.
Oh, thank you.
I think it's over 5,000 now, 5,200.
It's something like that. Yeah, went over 5,000, like almost 400. I think today. I don't know. It's weird. Social media is weird, man.
Like that's great, man.
I appreciate it.
It's a good amount of people for what we do. So it's it's always good to have that many followers, and it's for a reason. Like I always listen to you, so it's quality stuff.
No, I really appreciate that because I mean, of the people that do reach out, like after listening to an episode, like, and you usually do, that's like, that means a lot to me because it's like, I want to try to put out something you're willing to listen to. And for you to do that's really cool because not everybody just reaches out and says, hey, really love the episode or, whatever. But stuff like that, it's cool with knowing that your stuff that you're putting out there is appreciated.
Yeah. And to be honest, you kind of look forward to stuff like that. And you make time to, that's a trick. If you can have someone make time to listen to you, that's a good sign. And that's what I do. Like if I have time to listen to it, I'll definitely, put it on. And, there's only like a handful of people that I listen to. So
yeah, well, I appreciate it, brother. But anytime I talk to someone, like yourself, like, from Instagram, I always kind of wonder, what was it? Like, what did it for you when it comes to craft beer? Like, what made you get into it?
So with us, LA Brew Life is two people. Yeah. My brother and I, we're both born and raised in LA.
Okay.
And so it's two different, I guess, craft beer journeys.
Yeah.
Myself probably started 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I used to travel a lot.
Okay.
And if I was in Atlanta, Georgia, or Spokane, Washington, which is Pacific Northwest, or Dallas, Texas, Philadelphia, et cetera,
yeah,
I would always try craft beer and local craft beer.
Yeah.
And one of the things I would ask the waitress or like the beer tender, or even at the hotel lobby bar, it was like, what's close, what's local, and to me there's something special about having a local beer in the city you're in, obviously local, but to me, there's something special about that.
Oh, there is, for sure.
I think with craft beer people, I think there's some kind of, adventurous side of them that likes trying new things. I think that's part of it. And so, to me, that's always something that I liked feeling.
Yeah.
And again, 15, 20 years ago in LA, there wasn't that many breweries.
Oh, no, not at all.
And if you could imagine me in a computer Googling, because I always Google anything like restaurants nearby, or whatever. Of course. But breweries nearby, imagine having like one dot come up 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And then time lapse where it's like 4, 5, 6, 20, 30.
Yeah.
And so when, I didn't travel as much, I started obviously seeking that kind of feeling. And luckily, LA is one of the best beer scenes in the world. And I'm talking LA, Orange County, Ventura County.
Yeah. Southern California has like almost become like one of the meccas of
craft and beer, just like one of your previous guests, Daniel Drennan from LA, Beer Paper LA, I have the same sentiment, which is, brewers here are like artists.
Oh,
and craft beer is an art.
Oh,
and the quality of the beer in LA and California, Southern California, California as a whole, is the best in the world. And I agree with that. That's what he said in your podcast last time. And so that's kind of the way it started for me. Again, our Instagram is very new, but we've been going to breweries forever. And the feeling of being in a brewery, it's always very friendly.
Oh, for sure.
Inviting, right? And so that's kind of, and with my brother, he, again, born and raised in LA, but he moved to Denver.
Okay.
And so obviously Denver, I think they give babies beer over there in Denver. So it's a big beer place.
Oh, for sure. Colorado Springs, there's so many different ones out there.
So he started actually sorting for GABF.
Okay.
So obviously the palate evolves into, you have some of the best beers in the world.
That's awesome.
And so of course he started loving craft beer. I mean, he volunteered for it, so you have to love it, I guess. But
of course.
So that kind of is what got us closer and talking about beer. And when he would come visit here, we would go to breweries around here. And if we would go to Denver, we would go visit, obviously, his favorite beer places there. So, and one day we just said, oh, why don't we just start an Instagram of places, posting stuff of places that we already do.
Yeah.
Well, we already go.
Of course.
Because we already go to these places, and we know all the places, or we seek out places, which is the adventurous part, or like the try new things part. So that's kind of how it started.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and again, what helps is he's a graphic designer.
Yeah.
And I want to give a quick shout out to him. My his name is Jesus.
Okay.
And he's with Propel Design Graphics.
Awesome.
Propel _design _graphics. So that's kind of an advantage, I guess, because he does this. That's his profession. He's a 3D renderer, graphic designer.
Okay.
Loves beer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's you can't get better. If you want to start an Instagram, it's good to have a brother like that. And
for sure.
Yeah, and you have a brother too. That's a graphic designer.
I was just gonna say it because I remember you messaged me like, oh, we have some stuff in common. I was like, yeah, that's freaking awesome. Yeah, because I shamelessly, I'm sure by now, I shamelessly plugged my brother on the.
But it's cool. I mean, he's a designer for Border X, right?
So, Brewery X.
Brewery X, sorry.
Yeah, that's all good.
Border X,
yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, so so that kind of stuff it brought us closer together, is what it was.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, of course, with our knowledge of beer and our appreciation for beer, that's kind of what what led to that.
Yeah.
And the one thing we want is for it to resonate with people, and it's a lifestyle, really. In LA, there's so many options.
for sure.
Whether you're again in Orange County or in LA County or Ventura County, you have the beach, you have the nightlife, you have the mountains, you have the weather, the sports. I mean, I think it's a sophisticated crowd, and one of the things that is part of that, I think, is now, and especially now, is the beer scene.
Oh, for sure.
Really high quality.
Yeah, and you have to, I feel like out here too, you have to do things well, because if you don't, people are going to know. And it's like word of mouth and stuff like that. Like, all right, well, I don't want to go there.
Yeah, exactly. But, and that, again, it's the quality of the beers. And again, back then I was going to, unfortunately, it's a competitive business. It's not that it's not.
Sure, yeah.
And although there's camaraderie amongst the brewers and the breweries, it's still a business.
Oh, yeah.
And there's some that closed down we used to go to this place called Indie Brewing.
I remember they closed their doors, right?
They closed their doors, unfortunately. Mumford closed their doors, which was like, again, location sometimes matters, but
COVID fucked over a lot.
And COVID
of shit,
messed up everyone.
Yeah.
But it made it extremely difficult to have it as a viable business. But that's there's so many sides to that brewery business that it's so we started going places like that and enjoying beers from there. And then, again, it exploded.
Of course.
And, again, not only with the amount of breweries, but we're talking and awards don't mean everything.
Yeah.
But there's award-winning beer in LA and Orange County.
Yeah.
And we're talking, again, JABF, World Beer Cup, LA, California or Brewers Cup, I think is what it was. So there's a lot of that. So you're talking good beers.
Yeah.
So...
No, there's so many different places out there that I feel like, because there are some really popular ones, but they get kind of lost in the shuffle. But man, if you can go down there and have just a really solid West Coast or anything really, you can have anything like that and just have a good time. Yeah, so like I said, there's a ton of great breweries out there, but not everybody is able to find them, because they're over 95% of breweries in America are craft breweries.
Yeah.
And it's pretty crazy. But when you find that one, you're like, oh, I need to go back to that place, or I need to. But then you also talked about adventures.
Yeah, and I think craft people who enjoy craft beer, I think they kind of have that in them, where they like trying new things, and even if it's in their own local brewery, they may be locals in the sense where they like going to the same place. Yeah. But like we were talking about earlier, if there's something new every other week, I kind of want to check it out.
Oh, for sure.
Whether you love it or not. I want to try it. And again, it goes back to that kind of sense of, or that point of view as looking at the brewers and the breweries as it's like an art form kind of way.
For sure.
Right. So it's like, it's an art, they're artists and also like mad scientists at the same time, because there's a science to it. It's not just, I mean, if you look at if you talk to brewers, I'm sure you've seen many brewers after their shift, it's hard. It's not an easy thing.
Oh, not at all.
So it's
and it's like 80% cleaning, and then the other 20% is just having fun brewing.
It's like you have to be a chemist. You have to and then you have to have the love.
Yeah,
for
they're
doing
wizards,
it.
man.
Right, and that kind of sense of, like they have to understand like how it's evolving and what to add and
the gravity, everything. Like I brewed. That episode will be out next week. Well, no, not next week. When this comes out, because this will be out in 3 weeks. But when I brewed with that guy Ryan, like, man, I was like, what do I do? Like he walked me like baby steps. Like it was like he laid out the whole thing for me. Like, well, not on a piece of paper, but just like kind of laid it out. I was like, all right, so I just have to. It's like, you tell me what to do and I'll do it. And it was awesome because I never brewed before.
Yeah,
but just to be able to learn what gravity meant, I was like, oh, now I can mention that on the show. So,
and if you think about like there's 4 basic ingredients, right? Water, yeast, malt, hops. Yeah. But then the way you mix them up, the temperature, like you said, like the gravity, the water constitution. Like, okay, what type of water? Like that's where you start, and so that kind of stuff is pretty interesting. And
it is for sure.
And even if you have the same recipe, it may come out different because you change one little thing, or maybe it's 1 degree off, or whatever. You add the hops 20 seconds later in a post boil or whatever.
Yeah.
So all that stuff is, and it's kind of like a living thing, right?
Oh, for sure.
And
especially with all that yeast.
With all the yeast, and there's different types of yeast.
Yeah.
I mean, I just started learning. I mean, again, I'm a rabbit hole guy. Like, to me, I research a lot, and one day I love YouTube. By the way, YouTube, you could be. It's I always joke that you're like it's like the movie The Matrix. You could become an expert in anything in one night. So I was learning about yeast, and there's so many different types of yeast. Some people grow their own yeast, as you know, and for different types of beers, like whether it's a Pilsner or IPA. I mean, that alone you could go for an hour.
Oh, for sure.
I'm sure if you talk to a brewer, they'll go on forever.
Yeah. No, and that's one thing I love to talking about. Like when I do talk to brewers, like it's always like I'll tell them like, dude, this is an amazing hazy or amazing West Coast or whatever you made, but then they're like, yeah, but it could be better.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I love that perfectionist aspect to it because I love doing the show, but I also I'm always thinking like, man, what can I do to make it better?
Yeah.
Like, just like I'm sure like with your, like with, with everything that you post and all this stuff, all the breweries you go to, like you're probably thinking like, oh, what can I do to get more people to look at this or to be able to get people to see it and then also go to those places.
Right.
Because you want to support, you want to support
and that's the thing.
Places.
It's like you said, it's although it is for fun.
Yeah.
And again, we pretty much just post it of places we already go to anyway.
Yeah.
But again, my brother's the same way. And, he's much like yourself. You probably obsess over stuff. And to me, I think you have to be obsessed to be successful. You kind of have to do that.
For sure.
And so initially, without even our first post, we're, okay, what design? Like going back and forth.
Yeah.
Agreeing, disagreeing. So even stuff like that, we kind of take it to that next level of
definitely.
okay, I want to make this right.
Of course.
And with the same, philosophy as I want to make sure that we're showcasing the brewery scene, whether,
of course,
again, to me, local means, in our area. So I don't care about counties. I care about just us. Like here in Noble, technically it's Orange County, but to me it's the same thing. It's like a big family, right?
It's Southern California.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, that I kind of have that kind of mentality when it comes to the brewery scene.
That's awesome, bro. Yeah. I mean, and you don't because it's crazy. Like you'll see a lot of beer accounts, and it's like you don't see them as active.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like you can have a ton of followers, but some a lot of people aren't as active, and it's like you could be posting the best freaking reels or content, but you'll get maybe 200 views or something like that. Yeah. Oh, you're like, I worked so hard on this fucking reel.
And I mean, again, that's the thing. It's like, I appreciate all our followers. Thank you very much. If we have new followers, I would appreciate that.
Yeah.
But it has to come down to you enjoying what you're doing and being passionate about it. And again, doing it right.
Yeah.
We would love thousands of followers, but we do it because we really want to like promote the stuff. And also, and I'll do, we may do merch later on. It's more of a let's showcase the brewery scene.
Well, you gave me a sweet ass hat though.
I'm glad you like it.
About that. I'll be wearing that tonight. I'll be rocking the leather jacket.
Yeah. We have some cool dad hats too that we just got. By the way, I want to shout out Hoppy Threads, Oscar from Hoppy Threads. He actually met us in our hotel, because we stayed down here for the night because we're going to try a lot of Noble Ale Works beer tonight.
There you go.
But he dropped off some cool dad hats, so we also gave one to one of the beer tenders earlier.
Oh, Kelsey, she's awesome.
Kelsey, So again, it's more of a we want to give it out to people in the either brewers,
in the
beer
industry.
tenders, people like yourself, like influencers, podcasters, because that's what matters really. Whether we sell them later on or not.
Of course,
right? So,
but I mean, and that's what even like when I make stickers, like when I make new stickers, I actually should have I'm making 3, not new designs because I love the design the way it is now, but I'm making 3 different kind of variants of like different stickers. And every time it's like, I'm just going to breweries and handing them out. Like, it's
like fun, right?
Because you get to hear that sort of thing. And then
it's almost an excuse to hang out with people, right?
Well, it's like, I have to go to a brewery this weekend.
Yeah. Well, again, perfect example. We ordered these hats and I said, okay, I want to give them out to people like you. People.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So one of the first things we did was I met this guy named Tacos Brews. His name is Manny.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I think he followed me the other day.
So I met him at Highland Park.
Awesome.
And we were talking, beer.
Yeah.
I gave him a hat, but it was really just like, we're just almost an excuse to hang out.
Yeah.
Same with this other guy. His name is Anthony from Records and Hops, and we went up to Brew Yard. You've been to did an episode over there. He always goes there, so we're like, let's just go hang out, and I'll give you a cap. But it's more of we just had fun, and he hooked me up with some merch. His merch is pretty cool too, actually. Yeah. But again, it's stuff like that you kind of enjoy talking to people.
Oh yeah.
Same with the stickers. We have some stickers too, but it's look, you like beer here. It's almost an excuse to talk to people.
Oh, for sure, and especially if you're like because you don't even have to be like a social butterfly to do that. I mean, I totally am but like to me, what I've always wanted this show to be is just like me, like not minus the microphones, but like pretend like if the microphones aren't there, you're sitting on a tabletop. Someone happened to be sitting across from you, and you're like having a beer, and you ordered the same beer. Like, oh man, like what's up? Like kind of thing. Like that's what I've always wanted this to be, like just a conversation.
And same here, which is funny you said that again. We have like so many things in common. So initially, I was talking to Wendy earlier that my idea was really just to not have no one know who I am.
Yeah.
And they just see the pictures and the posts, and if it gets popular, fine. Mm-hmm. But my brother, he was the one who was kind of pushing me, like, maybe you should like put yourself out there more. Mm-hmm. Like people like seeing faces to the stories and stuff like that.
Yeah, they want to know who it is.
Right. And himself too, like I post his stuff, like again, he lives in Denver, but he sends me pictures or not only of beer, but like if we're hanging out, I think we post the stuff of ourselves. But people, I think, like that, right? But
they do, yeah.
But again, initially, it's really just about the appreciation for the space of the brewery. And, if you meet people, cool. If not, I'm totally happy watching the game, having my beers, and then leaving. But that extra of talking to people is kind of special. And it's one of the only things that in LA, it's kind of tricky because, there's a lot of trendy stuff. Obviously, like I said, like the restaurants, the bars and stuff like that. But you don't really get this type of environment anywhere else. You could sit down and have like a friendly, inviting environment. Mm-hmm. You could bring your kids sometimes. People bring their dogs sometimes.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
You could talk to a brewer sometimes. It's not like you could talk to like a chef in a high restaurant, like one of the best restaurants, but one of the best breweries in the world. You could actually end up talking to the brewer, or one of the brewers, or a knowledgeable beer tender. Mm-hmm. As someone like a friend or that kind of environment. So that's one of the things that I actually really enjoyed
Yeah, it's an inviting conversation. It's not something that like you can. And I honestly feel like that's something you can't replicate when it comes to like other industries.
No, you can't.
Yeah, and it's like because like you said, like you can't just go talk to a Michelin like what is it, whatever star chef.
Yeah,
and
Michelin
it's like,
star. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can like Jimmy like. The first time I talked to them, like now every time I'm here, and if he's here, he's just like he's pouring me something out of the freaking out of the tank.
And again, it's a special thing.
Yeah,
I think it's a very special thing.
Oh, it is for sure.
And again, it's not that we don't. I'm not only a beer. I mean, I think the LA scene, the Orange County scene, even the Ventura County scene is very sophisticated. So
and San Diego, yeah, I mean all that stuff.
We enjoy a nice restaurant. We enjoy our nice wine. I like scotch. I like playing golf. I like watching sports.
Yeah.
But part of it is also enjoying world-class beer.
Yeah.
And again, that's one of the main reasons also that we started this, because it's the quality is there.
Yeah.
The content is there. It's not like again, there's places where there's maybe 2 or 3 breweries, maybe there's one quality brewery. Here there's like dozens.
Yeah.
And it's the amount and the quality is something that also, you could there's enough content to put out there. So that's kind of one of the things I looked at too, because I'm not going to post the same brewery every time. So you kind of have to, seek out new breweries, and there's enough.
Yeah, you have to find new places. You have to do all try to, because you can't stay like complacent is what I'm trying to get at. You have to,
and it's easy to. I mean, even I have. I mean, it's not that.
Oh, for sure.
Traffic in LA is kind of crazy, so sometimes it's like, traffic. Maybe I don't want to drive an hour or two.
Yeah.
But there's, if you want to though, and you kind of have to push yourself. Like I have to push myself too more. There's so many that I haven't even gone. I mean, or I've posted. I've gone to most of them, but not necessarily posted about them. But it's a good motivation.
Oh, for sure, man. And honestly, that's really cool to hear from somebody, because you don't always kind of get that. I mean, and you don't always, like I said, there's people out there that like they'll post maybe once every few months. But I mean, with your stuff, it's consistent, and you can see like, all right, well, I need to try that place. And you've asked me you asked me earlier about going to LA or the Arts District. I'd love to go more out there. There are times when things get crazy because I have this show and that started up the other one. But I'm always,
the other ones,
I'm always trying to find new places to go and new places to try. And anytime I'm traveling somewhere, the first thing I look up is like craft breweries.
Same with us. Like we go to Vegas, for example. There's the Arts District, Beer Zombies, but there's also Arts District over there. They have like 4 or 5 within like 2 blocks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. We go to Palm Springs, for example. There's like 4 or 5 right there that I mean, the point is, like you said, I always look, okay, well, there's a brewery right here. We went to Cabo one time, and one of the first things I did, I was like, is there like a brewery? And so, of course, there's Baja Brewing Company.
Okay.
So imagine yourself being in Cabo at the marina, beautiful setting, having a beer.
You get to have some craft beer.
I mean, it doesn't get better than that.
Yeah.
Right? To me, it doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, you get the beach. Honestly, the beach and a beer. Right. I mean, if you throw like a smash burger or like maybe a couple shrimp tacos in there.
That's what we had. Yeah, some shrimp tacos.
Nice.
I mean, what else do you want, right?
Yeah. So, can't ask for any more than that, brother.
Yeah.
That's freaking awesome. So, do you have any favorite breweries? Like, because I know we talked a little bit before about the Arts District. Do you have any favorite breweries out there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have one favorite brewery, but I do have. Yeah. I mean, there's. We also have a routine, but at the same time, there's Highland Park, which is world class. Mm-hmm. There's Arts District Brewing, which is there's a brewer, one of the brewers, again award winning.
Yeah.
Alex, his name is Lucio Brewing on Instagram.
Oh yeah, we follow each other.
Yeah. See, I'm always at Arts District also. So he's another guy and another brewery that's really good.
Awesome.
Obviously, there's Angel City, which is close by.
Yeah.
And I like interesting stuff like, for example, I don't know if you heard of Benny Boy. So Benny Boy is, they actually started up maybe a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And the thing with them, it's like they call it a tank bar. And it's a Belgian-inspired, naturally carbonated. They have their fermentation tanks as their bar.
Awesome.
And they just have like a tap.
That's fucking sweet.
And it's not like a like a special effect where there's a line going through it.
Yeah.
It's actually from the actual fermentation tank, which of course I'm sure there's like a different process, but
Yeah.
that alone is kind of crazy.
That's pretty damn cool.
And again, Belgian inspired. One of my favorite beers there is one called a Backyard Basil Saison, which is like a kind of a maltier saison, but
and it's a Backyard Basil.
Yes, that's what it's called, Backyard Basil Saison.
Okay.
And they have a Mexican lager that's pretty good also, but again, it's all based on Belgian inspired. Okay. And they also have ciders.
That's awesome.
There's a brewery called Frogtown, which is a little north.
I know. I've heard of Frogtown.
Yeah, and there's the brewer there. His name is Jonathan, and they do great stuff. Shout out to Jonathan. They do great stuff there.
Yeah.
When I used to run more, I used to go there after my runs and have like a, reward myself with a good
have a celebratory beer. Yeah.
Good quality stuff. So there's a lot. Boomtown. I'm sure you're.
Oh yeah, Boomtown. Yeah, I know.
And there's a place called Homage Brewing. There's High Def Brewing. There's a place called Native Sun.
Oh yeah, I know Native Sun.
Yeah, and their brewer, his name is JP. He was the former or one of the brewers for Modern Times, and I think they took over that space in downtown. So again, the reason why I first messaged you was there's so many great stories. Like if you think about Native Sun, JP, or Arts District, or Benny Boy.
Yeah.
And again, whether they're open to it or not, I'm not sure. I mean, I talked to them, but maybe they are.
Good. I mean, and that's what I mentioned to you before. It was like, man, like if they want to talk and if they want to, share their story, I'm always in. Like, it may be like a month from now, but I'm always down because I love to. And I've shared it with you before, and people on the show or people that listen probably like he's saying it again, but it's true. Like everybody's destination is the same, but the journey's different every time.
Right. And same with me and my brother. Like we completely different, but we all converge in the same space, like us. So that's what makes it cool and special.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you can just sit across from somebody that you've never met before and have a conversation and be like, damn, like, didn't think there was anybody else out there like me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, and you have that. You make that genuine connection, and that's what I love about this, because it's about not making a connection, but just say, well, not that it's not making about a connection, but just finding someone that's just as passionate about this as you are.
Yeah. And again, sometimes that reservation, like even with me, I have so many, I mean, again, I'm kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I research a lot. I put a lot of notes. I don't want to forget stuff, so that's why I write stuff down. But
I get it.
But, when you're, we were talking before, I wanted to send you so much stuff just for information, just because I'm just like that, right?
Oh, it's all good.
But again, it's because of that passion of wanting to, do this kind of the right way.
Yeah, of
course.
Which
is, in the end, again, it's all about the beer.
Mm-hmm. And I think, even last night when we were messaging each other, and I just I sent you a little list. But for me, it's to me, that's not even because I want to make it as genuine or organic as
which
possible.
makes sense. Yeah, like you're the expert. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, you don't want to.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd love to fake. Just I'd love to be able to just I want that to be able to have that bar banter essentially.
Yeah.
With
that's what people want to hear. I think.
Yeah.
They don't want it to sound fake at all. Because I think people can tell they're not dumb out there. So.
I mean, there's times where I'm mumbling and fumbling. I'm like, I'm going to leave it in.
Yeah, I do it all the time. That's why I didn't drink before this. I had some, but
that's okay. But should we probably grab another beer before we keep on?
Hell
going?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. And it'll be like an hour for you. I'm just kidding. It'll just be a second.
We'll be back in 3 hours.
Yeah, there you go. And we're back. We got a couple short pours here because we got to drive. Got to make sure we're good. But we have Felt Unhinged, one of their hazies, and then we're also having their Mai Tai.
All right.
Mai Tai is 11%. So it'll get you.
All right.
Which one should we do? Do the Felt Unhinged first?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Cheers, brother.
Cheers. Very good.
I like it because it's light too. It's got that haze to it, but it's not overly heavy.
Yeah, and it has a good citrus aspect to it, so it's actually very citrusy. So.
For sure. What's your kind of favorite go-to style? If you're going to a brewery, what's your order?
So for me, I kind of go through the spectrum. So
Okay.
depends on what I'm feeling. But if I go to a brewery, I always start either with a Pilsner or a Mexican lager
Okay.
or a pale ale.
Yeah.
And then move up maybe to a hazy, to a West Coast. Again, so I try different ones, but I don't have one style that I like, but
Yeah.
I tend to try different beers. I rarely try the same beer twice.
Okay.
And only because I want to see like if there's other stuff, and if it's really good, I'll go back to it the same night. But usually stuff like that, Pilsners, Pale Ales, West Coast, I'll get into the double sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes a Goza sour, Berliner Weiss, stuff like that.
Yes. So. Sometimes you need to change it up, or like a palate cleanser kind of thing.
Yeah. And again, so with me, I try different types of beer, and sometimes you just depends where I am. If I'm at a brewery, obviously I'll do that. If I'm at home, I'll tend to want more of the doubles or even like a stout or something like that.
Because you're at home, you can get a little bit more sloshed and not have to worry about driving.
Exactly. So, and more comfortable there. It's like my own VIP lounge.
There you go.
But again, so it's it depends, and again it depends on what brewery you're in. Like sometimes I'll ask like, what do you guys recommend, and most of the time I'll get whatever they're recommending because maybe they're specialized or maybe they're proud of a certain batch that they did, or
for sure
maybe they have like a like a new release or a short batch or like small batch release that they just did. So
definitely.
And again, so it's like a whole. It depends.
Yeah, it depends on where you go. But like one thing I love that you said right now was about like you asking the beer tenders, because I feel like beer education is so important.
Yes.
Because how often do you go to a brewery and they're like, oh, what would you recommend? And I'm like, I don't know, like what do you want, kind of thing. And it's like, I mean, but you want to go to a place where they're like, oh, what do you like? And then they're like, all right, then they'll steer you in the right direction. Because and I liked Untapped. I mean, I know I talk about it sometimes, but I also I'm like, all right, well, if there's not a style you like, but you're ordering that anyway, and you give them like a 1 out of 5.
I heard you say that. Yeah.
It's like, come on, man. Like, they order the stuff that you like, but eventually we all find our gateway drug. We all find our one, like some people don't like sours, and then if they have a sour and they're like, wait a second. And then that kind of steers them in that direction.
And that's the beautiful thing about the beer scene or like the breweries or the beer is that you can find something that you like, I think. And you don't necessarily have to like the stouts. You don't have to like a double IPAs. I know Wendy, we originally, when we first started going out, we would do IPAs all the time. I think I forgot what IPA it was. But anyway, so we would do IPAs all the time. And eventually she didn't like the hoppier stuff. So she now tends to go more towards a Pilsner or Mexican lagers.
Yeah.
Not the hoppy stuff, but not the hoppy like West Coast lagers, but West Coast Pilsners, I mean. And you're right. But you can actually find something that they'll like. And
there's literally a beer out there for everybody. Yeah. But it's just a matter of finding that beer to kind of get you into it. Yeah,
and like you said, like the great breweries, I think the beer tenders or the brewers, they understand that and they're patient with it, and they say, okay, well, what do you like? And they kind of try to understand the customer and customize like the order based on and sometimes people are just picky, which is whatever, who cares about them, but for the most part, people, if they go in and they don't understand or they're actually curious and they want to get good beer, and you have that experience where they're actually trying to like help you, I think even that makes the beer taste better.
100%.
Right?
Yeah, because I mean, it's not only helpful, it's just like because they're guiding you in that right direction, and like they're not gonna not one brewery out there wants to serve you a bad product. Right. So they want to make sure that you're enjoying that experience as much as possible because they want you to come back. Even if it's far away, you can tell a friend like, hey man, you live up there, you should check this place out. So when you find places like that, when you find those places that have that's one of the reasons I love to talk to people that are in beer education, because it's cool to know that when you do go to those places, they can help you out. They can tell you what kind of, notes you're getting from what, or like the flavor profile and all that sort of stuff. It's super important.
Yeah. And again, like, just like with wine, it's, it's an acquired taste, but it's also an acquired, or you have to develop your palate.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and even depends, even if you are an experienced beer drinker,
Yeah.
you can have on different days, maybe like depending on the type of beer or you know how you are that day, you can taste different things on the same beer.
Yeah, 100%.
So again, it's a rabbit hole, right?
Oh yeah,
but it's a good one because
yeah,
there's plenty of options for everyone. You could actually go and find one beer. Here, I noticed they have a lot of selection, which is great.
yeah.
And that's the best part because sometimes they do only have 4, 5, 6. I've been places where there's only like a handful of choices.
Of course.
I'll try them, but it also helps to have something like this where it's like very, it's a vast.
Because you're not just like going after one clientele. You're like opening it up to everybody.
Yeah.
Like with the Mai Tai stuff, with the seltzers, and I feel like every brewery has a seltzer on tap now.
Yeah, and now that's more of a trendier thing, the seltzers, and it's popular, and why not? Again, the beer scene is not only the beer; it's the business side of it. Like,
for sure.
You have to be open. You have to make money. It's not like
can't just.
Yeah, I'm not one of those locals that goes and wants it to be empty there because I want to have my seat.
Yeah.
And I want to get as nice as it is to get free beer. I'm a local that likes to pay for my stuff.
Of course.
Because I want to support the business because they have to stay open.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, if you like a place, you kind of want that. And there's no better feeling that I have. And we said this many times where if it's full and maybe I'm used to being able to sit down faster and get a beer faster, I'd rather it be full. Yeah. And I wait 10 more minutes.
Exactly.
Because that means that business is
they're
making
thriving.
more money.
Yeah, things are getting better.
So I'm the opposite of, I guess, the regular local like that.
Yeah.
Because I want it to be busy.
Yeah.
I want it to be harder for me to get the drink because it's helping them.
Oh, for sure.
So
yeah, we're able to kind of do that, to support small business and to be able to just support local businesses instead of just like, the mass.
Right.
Whole shit. I don't really like to talk about that stuff, but it's so true though.
Yeah, yeah.
You need to be able to support those local, your local watering hole.
Yeah.
Like I'll always Cheers was always one of my favorite shows. I mention Norm all the time on the show because I feel like even here at Noble, they treat me right. They've always.
They're great. I mean, even if I don't think I didn't mention you, but
yeah,
they don't know who we were, and they're super nice, very friendly. Again, like a lot of breweries are like that, but that's what we love about it because they're all very inviting.
Because it's not snobby like other,
right?
I'm sorry about the wine community, but it's true.
Oh yeah, please.
There's people, people on their wine.
Yeah.
It's like just give me a good beer, and, or a good whiskey, and I'm good.
Yeah, and that's why we're not about being negative.
Yeah,
we will never have it. We're not a reviewer. I don't like that because that means you have to write negative stuff. It's really more about showcasing the brewery, and again, no one's going to make.
I love that.
Great beer all the time.
I love that,
and because. Again, I'm aging myself, but back then, a long time ago, kids,
in a galaxy
there used
far,
to be
far
in a
away.
galaxy far, far away.
Yeah.
You used to have to buy CDs or buy cassette tapes.
Yep.
That's people want to guess how old I am. There you go. But sometimes there was going to be maybe 1 or 2 great songs in a CD,
on an album. Yeah.
But you have to buy the whole thing.
Yep.
And some of them were not that great. And initially you just think, oh man, I have to pay $15-$20 for this thing, and I only want one song. And yes, they made singles, but not like today where you could just download. And now it's a whole different thing with the music business. But
for sure.
But the whole point is the process of making that great song is maybe through those okay songs. Maybe it is through the other stuff and you may find that you may like a song that most people don't like that you love. Same with the brewery.
Yep.
And that's, to me, there's value in that.
Oh, no doubt.
And I appreciate that. So that's why I say I will never have a bad beer because it's a process.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe they find something out. Maybe they learn from that. Maybe, you know what I mean?
I'm not going to shit on somebody's hard work.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I won't ever do that. If I don't like it, I'm not going to review it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people probably think a lot of the beers he has are 7, 8s, 9s, and 10s. I'm like, well, because I'm choosing the beers that I'm going to review.
Right.
I'm not, going to go out there and just shit on somebody's hard work. I would never, ever do that.
Yeah, and most people aren't even experts. Like even I mean us.
I'm not either. I'm not a freaking sommelier or anything.
Yeah,
and I just
same here. What do they call it? I think for the beer they call it or something else. Yeah, it's not a sommelier. I think it's something else. But anyway, so that's kind of our attitude.
Yeah,
and it's again, it goes back to the appreciation for the craft.
Of course. I feel like if you can find that kind of happy medium, I guess, where you can have something like this, or with Instagram, or with anything, and you can be able to go to these places and have try their beers and just be able to just enjoy yourself and one another's company.
Yeah,
and that's what this community has always been about. It's not about being snobby or anything like that. Yeah. But of course, there are going to be those people that are snobby.
I mean, and then there's like that everywhere. And
unfortunately, there's always a few bad apples.
Yeah, and unfortunately, a lot of them probably don't know that much anyway.
Yeah.
From what I realized, for example, I know there's another guy named Andres Vela. His Instagram is Andres Vela Art. I met him at Benny Boy. He was a beer tender, but he's like a brewer at Common Space.
Oh, awesome.
Common Space? Yeah, and Common Space, I
love Common Space.
They're great, but to me, they specialize. It seems like they specialize in lagers.
Yeah.
And one of the things I learned, again, going through this whole, discussion, is that lagers are harder to make than IPAs, because you cannot mask the impurities.
Yeah, you can't hide anything.
Right. So they're harder and it takes longer to make. And that's, again, one of the things that I learned from before. I mean, again, I've been drinking not drinking, but craft beer for a couple of decades now. And
same, yeah.
I learned this 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And it's because of that, again, you appreciate the process of doing it. But I didn't realize that it takes longer and it's harder to make a lager. Mm-hmm. Right. So you think it's the opposite because it's,
Oh, for sure. And I mentioned to you earlier when we were, when you first got here about how, because, you and I talked about it on Instagram beforehand too as well, but it was how much I love lagers and pilsners and stuff like that. But because of the fact that just finding out from what Taps and Tailgates was to now me going to breweries and talking to brewers or whoever, honestly, as long as you love beer, then we're family now. So
yeah.
But when you talk to them and they're like it's what the brewers drink. Right. Yeah. And it's so if that's what they're drinking, all right, well, if that's good, then I know probably all their other stuff is pretty damn good. Right. So that's why I always usually start with a lager or a pilsner or something like that.
And again, it depends on what people like, but that is the truth. That's actually real. And if you know that, maybe before, some people maybe are under the impression that because it's light, it's not easy. It's easy. That's and that's not true. Right? Yeah. So, and then maybe if you think about that, you may appreciate it more.
Oh,
right?
For sure.
And again, maybe it's a mental thing, but it's it's the truth. So.
Yeah, but it's easy drinking, but it's not easy to make.
No, not the good ones. At least.
Yeah, it's I was gonna reference a video game, but I'd say it's one of those video games when you're out there and you're it was so satisfying to play, but you're fuck, that shit was hard. Yeah. And to me, that's awesome though. When you can find that right pilsner or lager, and you're you go in your happy place, your happy Gilmore or something like that, and all that good stuff.
And of course, it doesn't hurt that you could drink 3 times the amount.
Oh yeah.
Right. But again, with me, it really is more of I start there. In LA or in Southern California, it seems like the West Coast Pilsner is a very in thing right now.
Oh yeah.
But it's amazing. It's freaking amazing.
That's anything. When I was talking to Jimmy earlier, I was if you guys ever make a New Zealand style Pilsner, West Coast, I'm I'll be banging on the freaking door trying to get in here.
And I like New Zealand hops. I'm a big New Zealand hop fan. Nectaron is my favorite.
Okay.
Anytime they have most places don't, but if they have a single hop Nectaron or, I love it. I just think the flavor profile is pretty balanced.
No doubt.
Yeah. So it's. has citrus, but it has some bitterness. Again, the aromas are there. It's great. It's great.
And anything out of New Zealand for me is great, just because I love Lord of the Rings, and even though but if somebody makes a New Zealand style IPA with Lord of the Rings in there, I'm like, I'm sure you saw my story this morning. Yeah. I had to take my precious out there.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah. I got a few people that reach out. They're like, it was like you idiot. What are you doing?
But it's cool though. Because you would have to actually set up the whole thing to take a picture of it.
Oh, I didn't even do it. It was just my phone. Like I literally just put it in the water. And
but that takes something too.
Oh, for sure. I still had to keep that. You
have to be creative to do that. So.
I didn't want people to know I had the One Ring with me while I was on the hike. So.
It was funny though.
Oh, thanks, brother. So you're a big college football fan, like I am.
Yes. And today was an amazing day because, there was only one real game, I guess. But still, we're getting close to the conference
and all that.
The conference championships next week, and then obviously the college football playoffs. But yes, there's nothing better than college football and beer.
Oh yeah.
That's why today was great because I was able to, on our way here, I was trying to tell Wendy, can you put the college football game on? Because I couldn't find it. We were driving her car. So I was like, I need to. And then when we got to the hotel, first thing I needed to put it on. And luckily it worked out where the end was right before we had to get here because I don't like to be late.
Oh, of course. I'm the same way.
Yeah. So I want to get here before. So it worked out. And, Ohio State, Michigan was a great game.
Yeah.
And so I'm a big USC fan. I'm sure you're a USC fan. And,
I got Tommy Trojan tattooed on my back.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
So I love that. And next week is going to be pretty interesting. Who's going to win? You got SEC, you got Georgia, Alabama, you got Texas, and I don't know who they're playing in the Big 12, but the Big 10, Michigan and Iowa is going to be good.
Yeah.
Iowa's pretty tough. Michigan's probably going to win that.
Yeah, probably going to pound the under on that game.
But the real game is probably going to be Washington, Oregon, and
no doubt. Yeah.
Who knows? I'm thinking Oregon's going to win, but you never.
Yeah.
The Washington game's still going on right now, but
it was 7-7 last time I saw it, but that was a while ago. So we're going to do it in.
I think either way they're in, but as far as the Pac-12, but I think Oregon may beat them, and then you're going to have a crazy top four unless something happens next week where Alabama beats Georgia, and then all hell's going to break loose.
Yeah,
right?
If Alabama beats Georgia, and you know what's crazy? Alabama. If you would have told me at the beginning of the year that Alabama was going to get better as the year went on, I would have been like, "You're fucking
Nick
crazy."
Saban. He's
I love Saban. He's a phenomenal coach. He's probably the greatest coach of all time, or college football coach of all time.
Right.
But you would have thought that nobody would have. Well, at least in my eyes, I would have thought that Jalen Milroe was the guy.
Not in the beginning, right?
Yeah, and he just
Nick Saban. I thought he was going to kick him out the first couple of games.
Oh, same. I'm just double checking the Oregon's. Yeah. Sorry,
the Washington
score. Here we go. Where did it go? 14-13. Just before halftime, Washington.
Well, I think so. If Washington wins, if they lose, are they still in the Pac-12 championship?
They'll still be in the Pac because they'll be 11-1.
So that's even going to be trickier because they're not going to. If they win, they may allow someone else. If Alabama wins, and Washington loses today, and even if they win next week against Oregon, they're probably going to put Alabama in if Alabama wins.
Yeah,
because for sure Michigan's in.
That selection Sunday is going to be absolute chaos.
Oh my God! I love it and I hate it at the same time because I'm more of a proud guy. Who's like I like to predict what's going to happen, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Yeah,
but that's the beauty of it. Sometimes it's. Even today it was a close game. Like we talked about yesterday, I think when we were messaging.
Yeah.
We both picked Michigan.
Yeah.
The line was 3, and they won by 6, and they pretty much won by 3 because that was with a minute left. They were up by 3. So.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I could go on.
No, it's crazy how Vegas is like that close. Like every time. Or should we try the?
Yeah, let's try this one.
Do the
Sorry to interrupt you. This is the which one did you say?
This is the Mai Tai. It's
Mai Tai.
It's like a Mai Tai seltzer. It's 11%.
And it's 11%?
Yeah.
Seltzer? I never had an 11% seltzer.
Oh, yeah.
Damn. Okay, folks. Stop listening. No, just kidding. Want to try this?
Oh, yeah. Let's get Wendy in on a review here.
Yeah.
You can get closer. It's all right.
It's 11%.
It'll get you there.
But I mean, the whole point is it's smooth. It's great.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
no, it's an absolute banger.
the aromas are there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they dialed this one in big time.
That's pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah, and it's like making because they wanted to do is like a craft cocktail, but make it a seltzer. And I was like, dude, they fucking nailed it.
It's a home run, man.
Yeah,
that's good stuff.
Yeah,
and I'm not a seltzer guy.
But, same.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy for me because you can have like these, like you can have a place like Noble, like who is kind of hidden back here, even though they're right next to Angel Stadium, and it's right here. Yeah, they're putting out bangers, and it's like, man, like you gotta check it out. Like you gotta.
Well, you have to. I mean, 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, people are not open 10 years in this business that much, and unfortunately, but
even surviving COVID and everything like that too. Like it's not that wasn't an easy thing to navigate because I felt like they took it out on breweries harder than they did bars.
Yeah, and you know that's another thing. Like again, just so people know, during COVID, the freeways looked like they were. I mean, there was no one on there.
Yeah,
but I took the opportunity to. A lot of places would have drive-ups or drive-throughs to get, and I would purposely go to these breweries just to pick up beer to support because, if you have half a brain, you understand like they have to make money. It's not like
for sure
they may be able to delay the amount of the payment that they have to make because it all costs money. The rent or leasing or whatever. So they have to be able to generate revenues in some way.
Oh, no doubt.
So I was one of those guys who would literally. They would open my trunk. It was like strict stuff, and they would put beer in my trunk, and I would go to different breweries to do that. And it's all because of that, support. So.
For sure, man. And that's why I love being able to just come to your local place, and that's why I try to preach that all the time. Just support local, man. Like go to your local brewery, go to your local whatever you have in your area that you're into.
And when you talk about local, it's. When you're talking about beer specifically, I think if you go to a brewery that's close by to you, you're going to find better beer, better tasting beer, better quality than anything you could buy in the store. That's not a craft, unless it's like bottled or canned from a local brewery. But I think it's way better. Oh yeah. And in some way, like I'm not a spoil. My dad he used to love Coors Light a lot, and now he just drinks Modelo.
Yeah.
Wendy's dad just likes Budweiser. But it's not. We will drink that with them because it's it's special.
We're not fucking snobs. We're
not snobs.
Anything.
Yeah, I'm not that. I'm not that guy. But if I have an opportunity to have quality beer from a local place, I will choose that.
Because, same.
And it may be because of the whole romantic feeling of like, okay, you're helping them out, and it's we're all a big family. But to me, that matters.
Oh, it does for sure. I mean, like when I go to my cousins in Arizona, like he'll try, like I'll take him to like local craft, beer spots. Like when I went and recorded with like Oso down there, and I think there's a couple other breweries I might record with. I'm gonna try to do like 2 or 3 shows in one weekend with them, with breweries in Arizona. But every time I go to his house, he's a Busch Light guy.
Yeah, so there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, that's what they like. It's fine.
We're gonna do. I was like, we're gonna be doing a bunch of shoeis with Busch Light. So.
In the end, it's about being around people, being around your friends and family, and having a good time. But again, there is something. Again, if we're gonna talk real talk, the quality is better.
Oh, for sure.
As far as like a local craft, a local brewery.
Yeah,
I think.
Oh no, definitely is. I mean, Nick, you want to be able to enjoy that, because it's about the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get to come to a place. You get to and then. Eventually, if it becomes your place, like you're one of your favorite places to go to, like you become that norm, or you become, you'll still venture out and try different places, but when you find something that you really love, you can keep on going back.
Yeah.
And especially if it's a core beer, then you can have it whenever you want.
Exactly. So it's a beautiful thing. I think so.
So who do you think? Because I know we've been going for a little bit, but who do you think makes it in the playoff?
I think it's going to be Georgia should beat Alabama.
Yeah, or you would think so.
It's hard to discount Nick Saban.
Yeah, it's also hard to three-peat too.
But if you think about who Georgia is, Kirby Smart was the former defensive coordinator for Alabama. Yeah. He knows them in and out.
Yeah,
he's a 2-time national champion. He's a real deal. Kirby Smart. I think he has an edge. I'm sure they're going to be favored probably by like 4.5, 5 points. I think they're going to win. I think Oregon is probably going to beat Washington.
Yeah.
Based on the score you gave me, I mean, that's kind of crazy. Michigan is obviously in. And the last one is, Florida State is at number 5.
But you just lost your starting quarterback,
exactly.
too. And that's how do you
if there's any college football people listening, you're going to hate me right now, but if their best player is out, they're out.
Yeah.
I don't care. I mean, and again, I don't know what they're going to play later on today. I don't know who they're playing. Mm-hmm. But next week they play in the ACC Championship. They play Louisville, who's 10-1. They're number 10 in the country. Mm-hmm. They might get smoked by them.
Yeah,
but if they win,
yeah.
if they get in somehow, they're going to get beat by 3 of those teams.
They're going to get railroaded.
So it's not fair to put them in. Again, it's unfair because I know their best player got hurt. But if your best player in college football, it's not the NFL. The NFL, everyone's great.
Yeah.
Everyone's good. In college football, it's not that way.
Yeah.
And if you lose your best player, you're not going to.
Yeah.
I don't warrant them being in, even if they win out, is what I'm saying.
Oh, no, I'm the same way because, like, one thing you can say about the NFL, like, even, like, the worst defense in the NFL would be the number 1 defense in college football.
I mean, it's a whole different.
Yeah.
They're all good. They're all good.
Yeah.
So that what that means is Texas is probably going to play. I don't know. They may play Oklahoma, I think, for the Big 12 championship.
Oklahoma, yeah.
And they lost Oklahoma earlier in the season. They should have won. Their defense let them down, actually.
Yeah.
Oklahoma came back and won. So I think Texas, if they win out, they deserve the 4th spot.
Yeah.
So again, Georgia, Michigan, obviously because they won. Oregon or Washington, I think Oregon, and then Texas.
Yeah.
I think those are going to be the top 4.
Who do you think wins the Natty?
It's hard to root against Georgia.
It is just so hard to three-peat, though.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's hard to repeat.
I think Michigan.
Then they did it.
Maybe because I'm rooting for Michigan because
I'm with you. Like I was going to go Michigan.
And we were talking earlier about being for like college students.
Yeah, of course.
We're talking NIL. We're talking all that stuff. They make millions of dollars for these universities. They deserve a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
At least, right? So I think in terms of that, I think Michigan is. I'm rooting for Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So. I'm with you. But hashtag give Reggie his Heisman back.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, the truth is, again, there's 2 type of college football fans.
Yeah.
One, people who are in denial.
Yeah.
And people who understand the truth. They were paying players since day one.
Oh, yeah. They find loopholes.
Right. That's always been that way.
Oh, yeah.
And now because people get caught, fine. But it's always been that way. Mm-hmm. And I think it's fair. If you make a college program, if you make a university $10 million, you probably deserve $1 million.
Yeah.
Right?
You can't cut out 10% for a freaking kid.
I mean, the point is, I know they're giving you a college education, and it's fine. Again, I understand that it's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah,
but if you're making them $1 million or $2 million or $3 million, you deserve a little more.
Yeah, and then even then, with that scholarship, you can take out whatever you're giving them for free, and then keep that for you, and then everything else goes to the player.
Right. So again, it's so those are my top. So who do you have?
I'm with you. I got Georgia winning it. I think this is finally the year that Michigan. Sorry.
Oh, Michigan.
Michigan gets over the hump.
And they're going to have Harbaugh back. He's going to be back at coach.
And he's going to come back just for that game. So no, he'll be back for the Big Ten title game. But I mean, it's Iowa, and as much as I love Kirk Ferentz, phenomenal coach,
great defense, gritty program.
It's always like Iowa. Iowa always has a great defense.
Yeah,
and it's but still, is it really? Do you think man, Iowa? But then again, you never know. That's one thing I love about college football. You never
know, and that's the thing. It's the upsets are the most amazing things you'll ever see.
Yeah.
When you see
it's those walk-off, almost home runs, obviously that being baseball, but you have those walk-off kind of moments where something crazy happens at the end, or a blocked field goal, or blocked field goal getting returned for a touchdown. Or something.
I've never said I can't believe this happened more than when I'm watching college football. Because it's momentum is big in college football. in college in general.
Yeah.
And college sports, I mean. So, again, you're right. Anything can happen. Mm-hmm. My money is on, again, like you said, Georgia and
Michigan.
And Michigan. Oh, Michigan's, yeah. I think Michigan has a shot to win the national title.
Yeah, I think so. If you had, because I know you're an SC fan. Do you have, as a kid, or even from now, or from when you were a kid till now, do you have a favorite SC game that you've ever either been to or watched on TV?
I don't have an SC game that's my favorite. I have an SC game that's probably the most influential. Probably the only one I remember, and that's when we lost the national championship to Vince Young in Texas. Yeah. It was probably the craziest, most stressful game I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
We should have won.
Yeah. Well, if Reggie didn't start trying to toss the ball around or whatever to Dominique Byrd.
And going back to college football, it's when you're talking about one player beating your team. Yeah. That's what it was. Because you felt like you could not stop him.
Yeah.
And again, it's not a good memory, but I just remember that game more than anything. And we've won national titles, so obviously, as you know. So
yeah,
the ones that you lose hurt more.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I feel like those are the ones you kind of learn from. But that one was just like a dagger right through the heart.
Yeah, I mean, we should have won. What was it like at that time? It was going to be 2 national championships in a row or something.
It would have been 3. Yeah,
3.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a drink for that. Yeah, it still hurts.
It still does hurt. You're right. Let's do this. This has been a blast, though, man. I appreciate you doing.
Yeah, I appreciate you. I mean, again, we don't have a lot of followers, and you didn't have to do this. So I appreciate you doing that
that's the thing, man. I can care less about. I'm not.
Well,
I care about my followers, but I mean, like, I don't care about like who has what. If we can sit down and have a really fun conversation, then who gives a shit about everything else?
Right.
Because you get to sit here and have a beer, or in this case, a Mai Tai
11%
that fucking smacks.
Yeah.
If you can have something like that, you can make a really genuine connection. Like if you ever wanted to have a beer in the future, I'm down. Like, we can meet here. We can meet somewhere by you because I'd love to go down towards LA.
You
and
definitely
let's do that.
Set that up for sure.
You tell me where to go, and that's where I'll be, man.
Cool.
And like, I appreciate your fiance allowing you to come down here and spend some time here. So
it's funny because she's, again, before Instagram. We were doing this anyway.
Yeah.
But now it's more of a involved. Obviously, the podcast is a whole different thing.
Yeah, of course.
But she appreciates that. I mean, the whole, even with, it's a perfect example of someone who you would think maybe wouldn't want an IP, like the core IPAs and the West Coast IPAs, but we can find a beer for her. We can find a good blonde ale or Mexican lager or a Pilsner.
Yeah. She
likes German Pilsners, which is good.
But that's awesome.
Yeah. So again, it's she appreciates it too. She enjoys it.
Yeah.
Not as much as I do, but she does.
No, but that's cool though, because you need, like, if you have that kind of support system, like, to be able to be okay with, like, we're doing another brewery this weekend. It's like, but if you have that support system where they're like, oh yeah, let's go, or let's do this, like, that makes it even better. Because
she's very patient with me when it comes to that. By the way, we are going to downtown Disney later on, so it's not all about me. So
there you go. Oh, so you're a Disney fan? Do you want to come sit over here and talk a little Disney for a second? Are you sure? Because I'm a huge Disney person.
Uh-oh.
Okay. I'm going to ask you on the thing, but so you might have to come over here for a second. What is your favorite Disney movie?
Uh-oh.
The Little Mermaid.
Okay. All right, I get it. I'm a Oliver and Company guy.
Oh, okay.
Oliver and Company, yes. The Great Mouse Detective, Treasure Planet. Those are my favorite. What's your favorite out of Disneyland?
I'm going to say Splash Mountain.
Okay, there you go. There's nothing wrong with that one. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Although we recently went to.
Space Mountain.
Space Mountain's good.
Space Mountain's my favorite.
Yeah. Nice.
And we recently went to Disneyland for her birthday.
Yeah.
And the one ride she told me, the haunted mansion she wanted to go to. So.
And was it closed or was it open?
No, it was open. But
awesome.
Let's just say I had to, like, I didn't know you.
Genie Pass.
Yeah, we have to get the Genie Pass to get in there.
Because we haven't been there.
I'm not waiting an hour, man. I'm not waiting.
No, I'm the same way. The last time I went was in March, but I used to go all the time when I had a pass. Like one year I went like 82 times because I had my pass. Because I was such a huge nerd when it comes to Disney.
This was years ago that we went.
Yeah, but when I would go, like I would started buying the Genie Pass. I'm like, oh, dude. Well, the last time I went, it's worth the $25.
Oh, it is. I mean, it's the best. I mean, wow.
As a beer drinker, he would like California Adventure.
Oh yeah. See? I mean,
I've never been there. So
you've never been to California Adventure?
No.
Okay. Well,
we may have to go later on. She's pressuring me on your podcast.
Oh, that's all right. I mean, Adventure. I'm kind of with her right now because I mean, you should go because they're like Unsung's usually there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so they have a bunch of different breweries, and I always shout out Unsung because of shout out to Mike Correa, one of my boys. But they always have all the different OC breweries.
Oh, good.
Within California Adventure.
Oh, so it's like that. They have
so you can also get like
beer.
you can get a ton of craft beer there.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
which is you would think
high five. Okay.
Even like I mean I don't even know if most people I don't think know it, but like even Villains, like Disney owns Villains.
Oh, really? Yeah, I heard that. I heard a lot of things. Yeah. I mean, when they came up, when they were opened up. Wow.
Yeah, they don't advertise it.
No,
but Disney owns them. So.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. But man, this has been super fun for me.
Me too, man.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to plug or anything like that?
Let's see. Let's check it out. My brother, of course. Propel Design Graphics. Propel_design_graphics. He's an artist as well. So Propel Art Studio. Propel_art_studio.
Yeah.
And follow him. He's a talented guy, and he does all our stuff. He's part of LA Brew. He's like 50% of LA Brew Life. So.
And I love your logo because it almost looks like a cog or like. Did you ever watch the Jetsons as a kid?
Yeah.
What's the sprocket?
It
kind of looks like the sprocket.
So what that is? So I'm a watch guy also. Like I love watches.
Same, yeah.
Yeah. So I love mechanical watches.
Okay.
And part of the mechanical watch is they call it a hairspring wheel.
Yeah.
And one of like the oldest type of hairspring wheels have like that, like the mechanical look. It's not a gear, but it's kind of like a wheel with like little weights around it.
I'll show it to you later. It's like looking at your logo.
Yeah, and so that's why I wanted that there. But again, him as a designer, he's like, okay, well, what does that have to do with beer? I was like, I don't care what it has to do with beer. I want it there.
It's your logo,
right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, again, it was ours,
logo, yeah.
And he thought of the whole hop with the palm. That's pretty amazing. We may even go into that later on.
That's fucking
because it's just such a clean look with the hop with the palm trees coming out of it. So we may do that, but that's what that is. And in the end, you kind of look at it like a sun. Maybe it could be like a sun also, but that's where it originated from, and that's what was funny about that. Yeah, that's what that's where
cool
it comes
though,
from.
Yeah. Any other breweries you want to shout out before we finish up?
Oh yeah. Oh man,
run them down. It's all good.
It's they're more like microbrewers.
That's okay.
Because I appreciate like they're in the industry, but like we talked about earlier, it's a different type of business plan. Sometimes people like to distribute. People maybe they only want to sell from the brewery.
Yeah.
So these brewers like Norwalk Brew House.
Oh yeah. Lamano and all them. Yeah. They have good stuff.
So it's Ricky Rivera. I think he's a part of the co-founders of SoCal Cerveceros.
Yeah.
So that guy came out with I appreciate his beers because he goes. It's kind of a cool business plan. He gets good artists, obviously Lamano from Loteria, and other artists, and he goes distribute.
Yeah.
They don't have I'm sure they're gonna have a tap room soon or a brewery soon, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There's another one called I don't know if you heard of Los Barbones Cerveceria.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, and they make a really good white wheat ale called Botas Blancas.
Nice.
And that's a funny story because I messaged them and I'm like, I need to try your beer. And again, when you talk about microbrewers, there's only certain places that you can get them from.
Yeah.
So I went to a place and they had a UFC fight and they wanted to charge me $35 to get into this bar.
Oh, geez.
And I just told them, I literally just want to try that beer and I'll leave. And the owner couldn't believe it. He's like, "There's no way you're trying to get in." I'm like, Look, you can watch me. I want to try that beer right there, and I'll leave." And that's what I did. And he's like, "I can't believe someone did that."
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. And Espada Brewing, they're from Wilmington.
They make a
SoCal Blonde. They make 2 or 3 that are out. But again, microbrewers, I think they're also working on a tap room or a brewery. But Wilmington, close to San Pedro's, close to like Long Beach, I think area.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. And I drove to this place that there's only one place they sell it, and I went to go get it there.
Yeah.
And, that's kind of stuff I like doing. One that I want to try that I follow is Inkful Ales out of the Redlands. Yeah, and I think they're out of our brew in the Redlands. I haven't tried it, but I want to.
That's awesome.
And maybe I'm going to do like on a Sunday when there's no traffic, I'm going to go out there and just grab a 4-pack or 2 4-packs. Yeah. And then Masahiro Kitano, he's part of the SoCal Cerveceros. He's award-winning, like in these homebrew. You always see him there.
Yeah.
And he did this guava goza. That's amazing. And he did a big batch out of Arts District, but most of the time he just does out of his apartment, pretty much.
That's awesome.
Which is kind of crazy, right? Like,
yeah.
So that's pretty much it as far as plugs. Breweries, like.
Yeah, there's so many out there, but that's freaking cool, though. I mean, and for me, like all these people that you're mentioning, like some of them I know, and not know, but I've heard of them, and I follow them on Instagram. But I'm always looking at like the SoCal Cerveceros. I want to get somebody from them on the show, even like the Brewed Up podcast. All these different, all these different places. Like, there's so many people out there that I just want to hear their story.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah. Again, it's all about stories. And when I reached out to you initially, I wasn't like asking to get on. I was more like, check this guy out. Check this guy out. Like, check, Arts District. This guy Alex, he's actually a brewer. Yeah. Or JP from Native Son, he's actually a brewer. Yeah. That'll be a good story. But
then us just talking, I'm just like,
just come on.
Yeah, just like come on and let's be on the show. So let's do that.
And another one I want to say, Creature Comforts.
From Georgia. They came over
from Georgia, now, and they're very nice. Again, I met their general manager Tom and I think their CEO Chris and their president Jake and John, the brewer James works there, and very nice people. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're kind of a big, they're the big setup. Yeah, and that's going to be that would be a cool, interesting. Story too. Would be down. Again, if they would actually.
And if they're up for it, I would. 1,000% down to do it. And we mentioned Ian earlier. Who was with Rip. Now he has ISM over in Long Beach.
Oh yeah. Ian McCullough.
December 10th.
Ian McCall, right?
McCall, yeah. I'm recording with him on the 10th. Woo! I'm excited for that episode. That's like almost not like what was like a white whale for me because I love Rip. And
he used to work at Rip, right?
Yeah, Ian, Ryan, they're all really good people. But that's the thing. One thing I love about we've said it 1,000 times on the show, but what we love about the craft beer community, it's like they are all they may be making the most amazing beer in the world, but they're all just they just enjoy the process, but they also enjoy drinking that beer or having that beer and just sitting there on a Friday night after a long day of probably cleaning 90% of the time.
Well, that's what exactly.
Yeah. So you get to just enjoy that. That's what when you meet those people and it's because they're I think of Dodgeball, Average Joe's Gym. It's it's the average dude is doing that but because they love it so much, even though 90% of it or 85% of it's cleanup, they still love it enough to keep it going. And I'm sure what does it for them, and when I talk to people, it's most of the time the people are like, "Oh, my favorite part was seeing somebody enjoying what I made."
And again with ISM, I think they're going to take over the old Beechwood. Right? Yeah. And that's a brewer, right? Ian McCall, is that his name?
Yeah, it's Ian McCall.
Yeah, and again, the only reason why I know about Ian McCall is because I listened to your podcast. Yeah, listening to Daniel Drennan. Yeah, and. Again, I heard of them. I'm kind of crazy. I researched the stuff, so I know they were going to open, but I didn't know who it was.
Yeah.
And based on that, I did more research. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And I messaged them, and I think whoever it was, they they messaged back, oh, can't wait to have you. But again, you don't get that in any like, there's a 5-star restaurant or like a 2 Michelin star chef opening up.
Yeah,
they're not gonna call you back. They're not gonna text you.
Yeah,
so
like you can get a reservation a year from now.
Yeah, yeah. Who are you?
Yeah.
But that's one, again, going back to that, one of the great things about the brewery scene is that they're very inviting.
No doubt.
It's like a family atmosphere.
Yep. And even here, and I shamelessly plug Noble because they've, like, after that episode back in March, they've treated me like family. Like, and they let me come here and do this.
Well, I'm proof of that. Like, again, I've never been here.
Yeah.
We've never met.
Yeah.
And the one thing we noticed is like they're so nice here.
Yeah.
They don't. I mean, again, I didn't say initially. I did say because I was like, "Where's Mike?" But
yeah.
But overall, it was great atmosphere.
Oh, definitely.
So, and I saw the way they treat you. They're really nice to you, and we appreciate the drinks you shared with us. So
yeah,
it's amazing, man.
No, for sure, brother. Well, thank you so much for being on, and Wendy, thank you. So stay tuned for the outro on the show. But thank you again. Make sure you follow Art at LA_BrewLife. It's him and his brother. And, honestly, just support your local brewery. And that's what 100%. It's all about. But thanks again, brother. Appreciate it. All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, it was a really fun time. Got to have some beers, got to meet him. It's always cool. Yesterday I just got to record with Ruben over at Burning Bridge in San Dimas. Super nice guy. We talked music. We talked, obviously his craft beer journey, like, the different beers he likes, all that good stuff. So stay tuned for that one. Just so some episodes coming up. Next week is Ism with Ian McCall, which is so fun. And then after that, it's going to be Angry Horse. And then Burning Bridge, I'm actually going to be recording at Pfeiffer's as well, over in Anaheim. And that'll be, I think that'll be Friday. So yeah, definitely got some episodes coming up. So stay tuned. Keep an eye out. But all right, guys, hope you guys have a good week. And, don't forget to crack a brewski, give a reviewski. All right. Take care, guys.